Victory to the bloodline. Victory to the Hodd.
You've been ambushed. The battle begins. Who dares? Who dares disturb the Hodd? Start the battle? Sure. Where you going, Abelard? Use cover to avoid enemy attacks. Covers for the weak.
Actions will speak.
Pew!
Your corrupt way has failed you.
Character just landed a critical hit. Thank you. Look at all this going on. Let's take it in. What a beautiful ship. Was this Abelard guy? Okay, so that's our rogue trader, right? And that's her seneschal, or like, you know, right hand man, right? Okay, so King Gill-Mouth, look at this guy. So serious. Rejoice in service.
Another step towards our
There we go.
ultimate victory. I took care of this one.
Cool. Theodora waves her hand in the commanding gesture. Mort! Take a team with you and clear a path to the transport line. Do not let a single horseman survive. The rogue trader just turns her eyes to you. Didn't bat an eye when that scum burst into the deck, Not bad. I've seen many an officer who panicked at the sight of combat on the upper decks. The false sense of security offered by their position makes them much more vulnerable to the harsh realities of warp travel. She looks at the Vox in her hand. All you can hear is lifeless static. What's happening? The incident in the ramping servitors may be connected to what is transpiring now. From what we have seen, King Gill-Mouth, Valenci Hodd, I love that name, I can speculate that we are dealing with some variety of madness induced by warp travel. If you say so. Seems very, directed. The seneschal is astonishingly calm for someone who just survived a sudden attack. Well, he's been at this for a while, probably. Such episodes are not uncommon among voidsmen who found themselves outside the boundaries of real space, though such episodes seldom spill onto other decks. Theodora clicks her Vox a few times. The casters are not working, or have been sabotaged. Either the warp is toying with us, or someone went to great lengths to cut the ship's communications. I need a direct channel to Engine Seer Prime before I get a sense of what we're up against. Engine Seer Prime, I think, is just the chief engineer. Keep your weapons at ready. I imagine it'll be some time before we no longer need them. I don't want to take orders from her. I'll say, what do you suggest? She breaks eye contact with you. Mort has gone on ahead to clear a path for us. If you want to make yourself useful, go after him and see if the arch-militant requires aid. Be quick about it. Okay. I'm concerned about the disrupted communication with the Navigator's Sanctum. We should have already approached the translation point and proceed to real space. The Navigator is a gene forged like mutant. It's kind of hard to explain. I'll try to explain it later on. Oh my lord, look at this. Where am I supposed to go? No, I'm a king. I know where to go at all times. Now the snake oil guy. Thank Providence you are alive and well. Mort, here he is. Okay. Always on time, eh, Conrad? The moment we finish clearing the riffraff around the deck, you show up. Always after the fighting is done. You can set your chrono by it. Okay, we gotta remember, Mort's a pretty good guy. Maybe we should, once we're in charge of this place, we're going to consider promoting Mort. Conrad pointedly looks away from the Archmilitant to you. Mort, pull yourself together. Archmilitant looks back at you. What, did the Lord Captain send you to chivvy us along? We're already done here, and I'll report right away. Mort pulls his Vox from the belt and hurriedly reports on the situation. Oh, she caught up pretty quickly. She's an adventurer, pirate, privateer, noble queen. Master whispers, what's happened on my ship? The Voxineck is silent. The Vox Master is not responding. Armed assailants have stormed the officer's deck, and my arch-militant just destroyed several more heretics on the way here. Is this a severe case of warp madness? Have some of my crew lost their minds and forgotten who they are and whom they serve? Report. I've not yet received word from the engineer regarding any Gellerfield failures, but communications were already unstable a half an hour ago, and now they ceased altogether. Whatever the cause may be, the consequences are spreading fast. I received scattered reports from the middle decks, and the only Vox cast from the lower bays are one-way heretical gibberish. He pauses. That madman have already reached the officer's deck, suggesting this outrage was planned in advance. Perhaps this is an organized mutiny. Mutiny against the Emperor's anointed. Execute the traitors, every last one of them. We must provide immediate assistance to those still in the middle decks. Perhaps we might stop this right away from spilling. There's people in this Warhammer 40,000 setting that serve more nefarious dark gods that actually live in the warp. there's two dimensions, one in space and one in like a energy hellscape. Well, faster than light travel in Warhammer 40,000, at least for the humans, they go into the hellscape with a little bubble of reality on their city ships. They kind of cross, time and space in order to kind of skip along the galaxy and get where they want to go faster. But you're sailing through hell, and bad stuff is going to happen to you every so often. So that's kind of what they're talking about. Well, we need to find out what's going on in the middle decks. So let's go there. First, we have to confirm that the bridge and the navigator's sanctum are secure. I have means to do the things at once. Her expression changes as her eyes flash ominously. Theodora looks at Voltvir. Ethelthred, where is he? I must know if he's unharmed. A psyker aboard the ship is potentially being assailed by the warp. Could pose a greater threat to himself and others than a whole army of madmen with improvised weapons. Conrad, I tried to locate him, but the last thing known about his movement was that he arrived transitional deck 18. Blast it! Master whispers, find Ethelthred immediately. Seneschal, locate Talas and the Sister of Battle. Both are to remain at my side. Archmilitant, with me. I must go to my study, and it appears that we might encounter heretics along the way. King Gill-Mouth Valenci Hodd. Theodora glances at you thoughtfully. If I may, Captain. Conrad's voice is soft and cautious. Transitional Deck 18 is at the heart of the disturbance, and if our goal is to bring Ethelthred back, I could use some support. After all, I'm not as adept at directly confronting enemies of the house as esteemed as the Archmilitant. And taking into consideration Ethelthred's psychic powers, that is settled. King Gill-Mouth Valenci Hodd, find Ethelthred. Give me orders. She's not going to be in charge forever. King Gill-Mouth Valenci Hodd, find Ethelthred and bring him here, in whatever state you find him. This elevator, for the Hodd, whoever has not been anointed by the greater Hodd collective, it can't be fully trusted. You got to be part of the Hodd, right? So you guys in the comments, I trust you, since you guys are all part of the Hodd. You're honorary members if you have not been anointed. You know what? I anoint you right now. Apaske, Duske, Malaske, you are anointed as members of the Hodd, all of you. Okay, so cool. He gives you a nod. Are you ready to head to 18? It's a long walk, and you don't even have the proper gear. I shall make do. Lead the way. Of course you will. He rummages around in his pocket for something. Lady Theodora would never have someone she couldn't rely on as one of her heirs, but that is no longer relevant. With a pop and a crack and a sharp crackle, something hits you in the abdomen, and you're consumed by unbearable, gut-wrenching pain. What? Traitor! I promise you special destiny, King Gill-Mouth Valenci Hodd. It is time to fulfill it. Hey!
Careful, careful. Be gentle with our guest. He has an important mission to complete during our visit to the Warren Chamber. And for that, I need him breathing. Oh, you are back with us, I see.
He looks down at you. What does it mean? What fear you, two-faced scum? You are the one behind this mayhem!
How perceptive of you. I'll help you with the next insight. I need you here for your blood. You have the option to share it voluntarily, or I will squeeze it out of you myself. We are in the anteroom of the Warren Chamber, this void ship's most hallowed vault. There,
very cool art.
Beyond those gates, lies the relic that gives Theodora all of her power. The sacred Warrant of Trade. Only one obstacle remains on my path to obtaining it. The gates of the chamber are guarded by the Sentinel. An ancient device that will only open the door to a true heir of the dynasty. I expected to do this part myself, but never mind. You will offer your blood to the Sentinel.
What is it, inbred? Is your blood too thin for the Sentinel?
On the contrary, the Warp's blessing has raised me too much above your kind, fond Valencius. The Sentinel refused to submit to me. But you can help. After all, isn't that what family is for?
Heretic. He worships the dark gods. What sorry, pathetic excuse do you even have for your apostasy, you sordid, wretched piece of grok shit?
Wretched? What do you know about wretchedness? Theodora's curse. Are you hoping to buy a grain of her indulgence with your blind loyalty? Oh, I know this delusion. But thank the gods it no longer has power over me. Humanity can rot. I no longer serve mortal kind.
Heretic. Heretic! Either your tone or the venomous words throws Conrad off for a moment, as hateful fury blazes from beneath the mask of a cold professional.
Once my work is done, I'll make that pompous wench von Valencia's watch as I sacrifice her entire dynasty and commit their fate to the gods. And you will be the instrument by which I will accomplish this righteous act.
Man, he has got to recognize that true kings would not bow to people like him. He hesitates for a second and then produces a strange weapon, a blade without a handle that shimmers in the blue lights. The blade flashes in the dim light, and drops of blood appear on your palm. For a moment, you feel nauseous, your head is spinning, and then quiet whispers begin to flood into your mind. More and more sources' voices echo each other, drowning out your own thoughts, replacing them with a singular urge. Go to the gates. Go to the gates. Fight the voice in your head. Get out, I'm not your puppet. Fight the voice. Yep, fight. Fight all you can, my king. The voice in your head giggle and mock your desperate outcry. You feel this intruding influence forcing you onto your feet and making you take a step forward to the gates, looming in the center of the chamber. Conrad, I'll have your head for this. In the gateway, you see a cogitator. Cogitators are 40K computers for the most part. Any type of digital computer in the Imperium of Man. Yep. In the gateway arch, you see a cogitator with a human likeness built into the front panel. As you approach, you see the torso twitches slightly. This is a servitor, an obedient automaton created from a lobotomized human being. The sentinel turns its head to you, one of its eye sockets lighting up with two ember-like irises. What should our planet's name be, where we're originally from? You carefully inspect the design of the gate cogitator. What immediately catches your eye is the strange alloy that was used as material for the machine's components, some of which are unfamiliar to you. You suspect this might be some kind of archaeotech relic. Archaeotech is just essentially fabulous ancient technology, almost like arcane magical effects sometimes. The servitor on the gate begins to move. With a screeching and groaning of metal, it leans forward closer to you. Its lower jaw opens with a drawn-out shriek, much wider than the jaw of a living human could. The servitor's mouth is filled with sharp metallic fangs that glint in the dim light. The vid screen to the right of you lights up, showing strings of mysterious symbols on a green background. A whisper runs through your consciousness, insisting, demanding sacrifice. The voices that filled your head after Conrad wounded you with the blade did not go away. On the contrary, the source coiled itself into a tight knot somewhere in the depths of your mind. You look around in hopes of finding at least something that could work as a weapon. Your search is in vain. The chamber anteroom is completely empty and in perfect working condition. Nary a broken panel or a protruding piece of rebar in sight. The servitor looks noticeably different than the ones you are used to. Its skin covering is stitched together with copper thread. It has metal hinges in place of standard joints. It seems like the creators of the Sentinel did everything to ensure that the service life of this unit would be much longer than that of ordinary automatons.
Did you forget something? I suggest you hurry.
I can't stop myself. Place your hand in the Sentinel's maw. The Sentinel's jaws clamp around your hand, puncturing your skin and sinking into your flesh. A few dark drops fall into the servitor's throat, and immediately you hear humming as the servo motors start up and the pumps stir into motion. The vid screen of the cogitator flickers. Several long minutes pass. The Sentinel's jaws remain closed, and you're beginning to feel sick. Perhaps if you were to lean against the gate, you can catch your breath. Maybe you can close your eyes and pretend none of this is ever...
High levels of caustic humus. The subject is in a state of heightened stress. Do you require assistance?
You do not understand where this quiet voice is coming from. Crackling like static. Is this a Sentinel? The cogitator? Is it a figment of your weary mind? Whichever it is, you can clearly hear every word. Who is this?
Genetic code identified. Child of House von Valencius. Do you require assistance?
You hear the voice again, and this time you realize it is coming from the two speakers built into the Sentinel's shoulders. You hear a displeased grunt in your mind, as if the lurking entity has sensed something that is not to its liking. Yes, Sentinel, traitors threaten my life and the safety of the Warren, yes! Pain shoots through your head, and it subsides just as quickly. It would seem that entity coiled in your subconscious does not have the ability to do you any real harm. Still.
Request accepted. Initiating defense protocol.
Looks like I have some sort of like spirit curse inside of my mind. The king does not like this. Come to me. Your king commands it. Ha ha! Burn, heretics, burn!
Well, there is still another way.
You better run, fool. Okay, let's go in here. Try to find something we can use. Grab a giant candelabra. Hey, servitor, you got any weapons in here? See, this is the warrant of trade. This is what I was talking about. It's not just like any old legal document, as you can see. But this is the thing that actually gives a warrant, a rogue trader his power. Let it be known, by my will and the true words of this document, I appoint this person to be the bearer of the warrant of trade and bestow upon them to be a paragon of humanity, unbroken by adversity, to walk until a triumph of nightmares untold, to hold boldly the reins of fate, to walk steadily to the road of thorns, to pain to greatness. Some of the warrants were actually written by the Emperor himself.
Escort the child of the house to safety.
What madness is this? Who are you? Who addresses the king?
Temporary obnubilation following acute stress. Mobile unit of the Warrant Sentinel standing by.
Are you this warrant sentinel?
Mobile unit of the Warrant Sentinel designed as a personal escort of the child of the house and a means of communicating with the rogue trader's subjects. Mobile unit standing by.
I need a weapon.
Distance from the current location to the nearest arsenal. Initiating situational calculations.
Leave me away from here.
Middle and upper decks. Assuming the probability of safe placement in areas of concentration of armed units. Calculating. To prevent unauthorized units from breaching the warrant chamber, preemptive sealing must be initiated. The mobile unit will start executing the received order immediately after the safety of the warrant is secured.
Okay, let's seal the warrant chamber. That sounds good.
Master, whatever are you doing in the warrant chamber? How did you... Throne preserve me. What is the meaning of this?
They stood before your king. Seneschal Albert Westerlin has lost some of his former polish. His forehead is sweating, and one of his sleeves of his coat is torn and soaked with blood. Nevertheless, despite his heavy breathing, he stands firm, and his gaze is demanding, albeit somewhat surprised. Master King Gill-Mouth Valencius Hodd? Yes, that is me. Conrad is a traitor. When we parted ways on the officer's deck, he stunned me somehow and brought me here.
What?
He intended to take revenge on Theodora for something, and tried to reach the warrant chamber was somehow part of the plan. Oh, holy God.
God, Emperor.
Sorry, Abelard.
I presume he is the one responsible for the mutiny. And, Master, I wish to remind you that you are to refer to the Lord Captain as Lady Theodora.
No. Vautier openly admitted that he has a mastermind behind the mutiny.
Saints' blood! And it is small wonder that the heretics are so well organized. I thought his order to seal the passages between decks was his attempt to stop the attackers from spreading to other levels. But now I see the real reason. It was to stop the enforcers from intervening. At least you are alive, and now safe, Master. Alas, I doubt we can afford to look for a compartment to sit out this disaster. You're in a bad way. I can treat your wounds. I have a Medicaid kit with me. And, for the love of the throne, now is not a good time to be walking around the decks with means of self-defense.
Yes, axe.
Here.
What is axe, game? Look, okay, thank you, game. Axe, one-handed melee weapon. Primitive. Maybe we call him primitive. Ooh, access special attack that inflicts bleeding. Okay. I need an axe, baby. Not sure if I like how that looks on me, but you know what? Pickers can't be chooser.
The lower decks are teeming with heretics instigating the rabble to revolt. But that is the least of our problems. The ship's enforcers are rounding up the scoundrels and suppressing the resistance. The situation on the middle decks is much worse, although strike teams have already been dispatched there. all communication with the bridge and the engineering bay was lost. So, apart from scattered voxcasts, we have no information to go on.
I see.
But that is not the worst of it. All these jolts and shaking are most alarming. These are signs that the navigator and the master helmsman are having difficulty translating the ship out of the wall and into real space. I fear that they may have already lost control. We must reach the navigator's sanctum and get a handle on the situation. If we can manage that, some aboard this vessel may yet survive.
That sounds like a good plan. Do you know anything about what has gone wrong with the translation, Abelard?
I am no helmsman, or God Emperor preserve me navigator. However, I've spent my entire life aboard void ships equipped with warp drives, and I know that portents such as these do not bode well. It could be that the Geller field has faltered. Perhaps the navigator was struck down by warp corruption and is fighting for the last shreds of his humanity as we speak.
Don't let your imagination run away with you. That's not going to help anyone.
If we get thrown off course, we will be forever lost.
Best not to think about that.
Naturally, we would likely not have long to live in that scenario. But I will not resign myself to such an outcome just yet.
How did you find me?
You sent me a Vox message. Specifically, a Voxcast on the officer's frequency, which I had the good fortune to receive. You mean to say you did no such thing?
Okay, I see. I think the Warren Sentinel may have sent that message.
Warren Sentinel? The Lord Captain barely ever ventures down to the chamber, and I was at her side only once or twice when she did. And I did not see anything of the sort.
Interesting.
The Warren Chamber is an ancient and rather sacred mechanism that the ship's tech priests treat with the utmost reverence. I assume that whatever it is that you did, you must have activated certain processes and caused the Sentinel to awaken. But then, why did none of it happen when Lady Theodora did the same?
The true purity of the blood of Hodd. Very well. Lead the way.
Absolutely. Let us proceed.
A wave of static suddenly erupts from the servo skull, and you can make out Theodore's words through the noise. To arms, loyal sons and daughters of the God Emperor. Fight the heresy and corruption that threatens to consume our home, and with all your might destroy those who have dared...
May the blessings of the divine
Tactical phase. Love this universe. I love 40k so much. Do that. That's... Start the battle.
Pain of this mortal flesh means nothing.
Let's do... Charge this guy. And then we do this.
Victory is imminent.
I love... He has a chain sword, right? Chainsaw swords, man. Bleed for me! Oh, and I can use charge also. Yeah!
And so it shall be.
Yeah! Face my axe! Oh, parry! What the... chop!
I will not.
Yes! Next one's for you, heretic. Bleed for me!
Your corrupt way.
Okay, let's level up. How do we do this? Coercion might be good. I like that. I'm a good speaky guy. Coercion 50. Yeah, not bad. Okay, this is kind of like the pen and paper RPG a little bit. Finally fighting with an axe in my hand. Thank you, Abelard. Oh, loot some heretics. Zone map. Ooh, look at this beautiful ship. Look at our beautiful ship. Abelard, I do not like the purple energy at all.
We are bound by the blood of Mars. The navigator's sanctum is directly along the passageway. I pray to the God Emperor that we are not too late.
Let's save again. Born. To lead. To lead.
Know your duty.
What's going on here? Ooh, everything's fallen apart left and right.
And so, he will enter the halls of the blinded guide and witness the radiance of the final dawn through the cracks and fall victim to a whim of fate.
A witch. The woman before you whips around and gazes straight at you, her eyes glowing with otherworldly light.
Master, watch your head. Would it be too much to ask that you phrase your soothsayings plainly for once? That was too close.
Abelard grumbles as he dusts himself off and grips his weapon again.
Sorry, old man. The voices are so loud I can't even hear myself. They shriek, they sing, they... Oh, Abelard, how they sing!
This is Idira Tlas, personal psyker and diviner of Her Ladyship Theodora von Valenci.
Okay.
Idira?
I'm not drunk, old man. I'm suffering the effects of the warp that is seeping through these walls. I see the ship's fate. To die in the waves of the immaterium, fall under the burning rays of the final dawn. And in the roaring blaze, I see a figure standing. Who is it? I have no answer.
We of the Hodd, we are not totally against using witches in witchcraft for our means, but we also have to be eternally vigilant against them, because all this devilry that they have to, use in order to make use of their spells, it corrupts even the most strong of minds. I don't really have any problem with her specifically, but we got to be wary about her. This entity is still in my head. The entity in your consciousness shrinks and crawls in deeper, its claws scraping against the walls of your mind, as if the presence is trying to hide from the seer standing before you. A diviner, are you?
The voices from beyond the threshold whisper to me. Sometimes their murmurs are clear, they grant insight. Sometimes they drive me mad. But I am patient. I know how to listen and discern. But now, with this clamor around me, too many voices, too loud. And you are von Valenci, one of Lady Theodora's heirs. Well then, we finally meet.
You are King Yerma Valancius Hodd von Valancius. Yeah, I like that. That's my full name. You hear a few clicks from the relays of the servo skull, which has followed you all the way here. Theodora's scrambled words give way to a voice vaguely familiar to your officer's frequency. To all who can hear me, those with a weapon in their hands are to gather at the officer's deck at once. I repeat, gather in the officer's deck at once, prepare to launch a counterattack.
That's Edelstrat. Oh, Emperor's Providence. The other heir lives as well. Quickly, we must head to...
Not so fast, old man. If we drown in the warp, Lady Theodora's heirs won't be any good to us. If Edelstrat's like me and hasn't yet surrendered his mind or body to the mercy of the warp, then he can still hold on a little longer without us.
All right.
Blast it. You're right. First, we need to deal with what is happening here.
So what are you doing here?
The whispers called me. The ones I could make out among all the screams and screeches. Those who are rocking this boat hit us where it hurt. They went after the navigator, our guide through the warp. Other whispers called me to the enginarium, but it was too late. I heard the cry of our master Cog, and the silence that followed.
Jeez, things on the ship are not going well at all.
What? You don't mean the engine seer prime is...
Said, without a doubt. And the voices wail, heralding countless nightmares, cackling at each soul among the hundreds that are now joining the warp. The shriek from the navigator's sanctum was louder than the rest. And it's better that we saved the navigator than some lever puller from a cooling module or a cook from the middle decks.
I agree. We must see if the navigator as well.
Oh no. No. Nothing is well about him. Can't you feel the chill crawling on your skin? The eyes watching you? The warp ice has already encased the bulkheads. What follows is calamity.
I'll burn away this magic with my faith.
But we're not just going to stand here and take it, are we? The state of things in here suggests there's a navigator around. Maybe one who's crippled or at death's door, but still kicking. And since our skin hasn't peeled off our faces just yet, his third eye must be closed. At worst, it's a little roughed up. So what are we moping around for? Let's go protect that noble mutant while we're still alive.
Idira freezes. Then she slaps her cheek, rubs her face, and looks at you. The supernatural glow is gone from her eyes, and a smirk spreads across her lips. I like her so far. Hurry, destroy the field. Don't keep our master waiting. The navigator.
Rejoice.
Bam! There we go. Smirch thunders under the burden of hopes. Unseal your hearts, and I will flood your souls with myriads of words and meanings, each one a potent of salvation within me. The navigator continues to convulse violently in his seat, shrieking and cackling, but his fists stop abruptly. His face is drenched in black and crimson. The dark ooze from under his third eyelid has turned from a trickle into a stream, mixed with the blood coming in from his nose, and there's a purplish swelling around the eye. Yeah, this guy is... I mean, he's gone. It's better to just put him out of his misery. Vespitus, run, flee from this place while I still have the strength. The words came out of the Vox as a labored rattle. I can contain the intrusion, but not for long. We must begin the translation, leave the warp, but it can't be done without the Master Helmsman's help. Who torments you? The Edge. The navigator starts thrashing around once more. His Gill-Mouths begin bursting with crazed laughter. Kneel before the ascent of a new champion. When the rite is complete, the shell will burst, and thousands of Maws will accept the sacrifice offered to the Edge of Daybreak by the Bringer of Twilight, the one marked by the will of the gods, Edge of Daybreak. Each word rings through your skull like the tolling of a bell, as if countless voices have joined in, screaming into your ears. For a moment you lose your bearings. The unholy chorus must be trying to confound you with sounds not meant for the world. I want to help you. Tell me how. The navigator takes a ragged breath. Run. The sanctum will be sealed, and I will hold off. Hold on. Wait for the signal from the Master Helmsman. Then I will commence the translation. Okay, he's going to try to bring us out of warp as his last act. I mean, Emperor protect you, Vespitus. I don't have any problem getting the Helmsman. I mean, if he wants to use his last ounce of life in his soul to save us all, I'm up for that. And what do you think, Abelard? Seneschal, the ship can only begin the translation with the assistance of the Master Helmsman, if he is still alive. It is worth a try. We must get to the bridge, but we need support. Our only option is to fight our way to the officer's deck and join forces with Ethelthrad and his people. I also believe we'll find Lady Theodora there. She must have heard the call to arms that the Servo Skull relayed to us earlier. Edda reaches her hand towards the navigator, but pulls back at the last moment. Vespitus, good luck, and thank you. Black tears mixed with blood are streaming down from under his closed eyelids, and the Vox at the base of the chair is bellowing out static, distant echoes of otherworldly laughter.